Does the idea of planning your entire homeschool year overwhelm you to the point of saying, yeah, can't do that? If that sounds like you, I'd encourage you to spend the next 15, probably more like 30 minutes with me while I walk you through exactly why you should be doing just what scares you or overwhelms you. Because there's too many benefits of planning an entire homeschool year, and I want to tell you all about that in today's episode. I'm Dollie Freeman, and this is the Charlotte Mason Mastery Show. How about we get started today by saying this, that what we do matters. And knowing that what we do matters, we cannot leave it to chance. We cannot let the things of life demands overwhelm us to the point of not putting the importance of our children's education as the foremost responsibility and requirements that are on us as homeschooling mamas. So, if you are like many that I have taught and coached through the years, you are not alone when I say things like planning out your entire year, making sure that you have a grade notebook ready for all of your children's before you actually start homeschooling. If any of that overwhelms you, you really need to grab a piece of paper and pen, because today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the benefits of planning an entire homeschool year. Now, I don't want to lose you here. Just because you are overwhelmed about something, I want to encourage you, because on the other side of where you're comfortable is the transformation you're longing for. We cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results. In other words, we can't keep planning the way that we're planning and expecting the endless friction and the least progressing to just disappear. We're doing the same things, we're going to get the same results. So, in today's episode, I want to more than just encourage you and inspire you. I want to help you to understand it's demanded of us as homeschooling moms to actually be more intentional about how we plan. And once you understand the benefits, you will say, you know what, this is worth the work. Now, I want to tell you, I've not always planned an entire homeschool year. When I first got started, I put a whole lot of time and energy doing what I was told to do by others in the homeschooling community. And I did plan out the entire year. I took the well meaning advice of a lot of homeschooling friends, and I bought curriculum that was wrong for our family. So, what ended up happening in the first several weeks of homeschooling, I wasn't happy. My kids weren't happy. I was reteaching the concepts that I was teaching to our daughter. And my daughter, in her wisdom of being, what was she, just 6? I think she had just turned 6. I remember her saying, Mom, if this is not true, why are you teaching it to me? And it hit me, and it's like, just because I spent the money on this curriculum doesn't mean I have to keep doing what's wrong. I can make some changes. So, because I had planned out the entire homeschooling year on wrong curriculum, I kind of decided, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm not going to waste all this time and then make the changes. So, if you're thinking you make a lot of changes along the way and you just can't plan the whole homeschooling year, I want you to understand that I've done it all. I've planned week by week. I've planned day by day. I have journaled what we've done and just let life take its course. I've planned Sunday night, I would sit down and say, okay, this is what we're going to get done. I've planned the day before. I've planned for a whole month. I've planned for a term. I've tried every idea under the sun when it comes to planning homeschool. But what I will tell you is when I decided, you know what, let me go back to planning the entire year and let me see what happens. I began to put so much time and effort into planning that differently. So I'll be honest with you. I was planning the entire summer from the time we finished one homeschooling year to the time we started a new. I was doing nothing but researching products, going through reading books on my own, planning out the entire year. It was a never ending job. I was homeschooling nonstop, not only in implementing our plans, but planning it. So when our third child was coming, I was like, I need something different. I can't keep up this lifestyle. So I need to make some intentional decisions and get ready for the baby that was expecting in June, at the end of June, because I can't spend my summer planning. So that's when I realized, I need a framework. I need a framework to understand how to plan, how to be intentional, because by that time I understood the value of ideas. I understood my job, and I understood that I could not leave those ideas to chance. Now, what I had found is going all the other way. I was planning by the seat of my pants. I was literally making decisions as I was going based on what I felt in that moment. And then I was making emotional decisions. Can you relate to that? Can you ever admit in saying, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of going by the seat of my pants day by day because life demands that of me right now. I was there. It is not a good place to be. I was also in a place where I was exhausted. I was weary. I was frustrated. I was feeling unappreciated. I was feeling my joy was chipped away. I had no joy in what I was doing. And making decisions with those types of emotions, some days I was downright mad. And making those decisions in those moments of something so important as education, I realized I was not doing the best by my family. What was ending up is that I found that staying by the seat of my pants and making emotional decision, I was buying more and I was using less than what I was buying. And then I was also finding out because of that, I started changing often. I was changing my curriculum often. And then we were seeing no progress because I was putting my efforts and my energy into researching and finding something different and switching it up and planning and starting all over again. You cannot make progress when you're constantly going backwards. And so I had a lot of bad habits that were affecting our homeschooling in a really bad way. And so when I decided, you know what, I'm going to plan my entire year out again, I'm going to trust myself a little more, and I am going to put an effort forward. And for the only purpose of planning with intentions and helping me to be consistent because life is demanding. And when I am not already putting the effort before me and saying, this is what I'm planning, next thing you know, I'm letting those life demands derail me and I'm not getting things done as well. And so for me, I found that I had to really become very intentional. And what I started to create when I was getting ready for our third baby, I have been testing, I have been perfecting that for 20 years. That boy has grown up to be 20 years old now. And so I have tried it, I have tested it, and I have perfected this whole planning system. And so the good thing about it is what I'm about to share with you has caused my annual plans to become so productive school years. And when I say productive, I'm saying even with challenges like dyslexia and struggles with reading and struggles with writing, we were still making noticeable progress year after year, and we were getting things done. In fact, we would get done and before the day I had said this is going to be the last day of our school. I already knew what the last day was before we started school. And because of that, we oftentimes would be done before the end of the day or the end of that year because I was so intentional about our plans. Now, does that mean every day was a beautiful day and every day everything went as planned? No, absolutely not. This is life and we're homeschooler, and we do, in fact, get sick from time to time, and we have to take vacations. We, make plans sometimes that interrupt our homeschooling routines and schedule. It doesn't mean that my year was productive because every day went as I wanted it to go. But what I want you to know is by living intentionally and consistently with an entire year, you get more done in less time because you already have done the effort of decision, which is the most tiring effort in life. So if we can make those decisions before we even start homeschooling year, the next thing you know is you're going to find out that when you feel like you need to go by the seat of your pants because of the life demands, you've already got your homeschool planned and you can pull from that without having to change it. You can just rearrange it. And that's my beautiful part of having a year plan. We might say, normally, right now, we would be doing this subject, but because we now have to run to the doctors that wasn't planned, why don't you move what you planned right now? You can read in the vehicle and we can work on this before we go to the doctor's appointment. And now living by the seat of the pants by life demands doesn't mean I had to live by the seat of the pants by homeschooling. I already had it intentional. So instead of just going by my seat of pants, I'm just rearranging what I'm planning. Does this make sense? And then on days when you're emotional, let's face it, mamas, we have some emotional days. We're not even talking about cycles here. We're talking about life demands leaving us wore out, just really emotional and raw some days, right? And so when you are recognizing that I'm having an emotional day, and I don't have to make a whole lot of decisions on life today, but I already have a plan with my homeschooling. And I can fall back on those plans, my homeschooling, and I can take it a little easier today and not think about all the other stuff that overwhelms me. But at least we can do homeschooling. And there's nothing like curling up on the couch or in bed. I have homeschooled in bed a few times with your children and just all kind of coming together. And instead of letting the wilds of the world just drive you away into a frenzy, you can just calm down and not think about all the other stuff and still be intentional about having that productive homeschooling year and getting things done. Doesn't that sound better than just living by the seat of your pants and making emotional decisions about your homeschooling? It sure does. And what I found is that when I did that, I ended up buying far less. In fact, this school year, we haven't bought anything. And I'm almost done pulling all of the plans, the resources together. I've yet to plan. That is actually set for August 5th when I get together with all my Wholesome Thinkers and customers and we go through the boot camp together. So I have yet to plan, but I have my resources gathering and I've yet to buy anything so far because I've been intentional about my decisions and my budget. I make sure that I buy things that will actually be useful for more than one children. And then what I find out is I use more of what I have because I've become intentional about how I do homeschooling. That I find out that not only am I spending less, I'm actually using more of what I already have. And you talk about being frugal and you talk about making sure that you're making your dollar stretch. That is a really good thing. But in addition to that, I have found over the 20 years of doing this, I am changing less of my plans. But last, I'm saying over 20 years, I may have changed three, maybe four things at the most. And so I'm changing much less, and we're having more progress each and every year. So if that sounds like, you know what, this does have a lot of benefits to me, for me to even consider this, I want you to know that I would love to introduce you to my planning system, something I planned to do last week, and I failed to get things together. So, my planning system is something I called grade notebooks. And I'm excited because, let me put this up. You can go and get your grade notebooks for $10 off with the progress used at your checkout through August 31st. So you want to go ahead and go to gradenotebooks.com and use progress, PROGRESS, in the checkout code. So let's get started with this. So this is our tracker. The tracker is, I think, it's my favorite idea, influential ideas. All of the grade notebooks are created with the purpose of inspiring ideas in children. So this is helps your children to form the habit of observation. And so as you can see, there's a tracker quote on here, and inside is our influential. Let me see how I can do this without hitting and hurting myself. First of all, let me move this back and move this down. All right, that might help a little bit. So here you can see is our tabs. So they come with pre-marked tabs, and each one has a quote about tracking. And so your child is going to become inspired with these ideas throughout the entire year as they're going through their different subjects and their weekly assignments as well as their annual assignments. And this is just going to help inspire them. Now, on the back of everything, let me pull this closer here. So on the back of every tab, I have a prompt that will help you to help your children identify some interest. And like for this one, it says, things that amazed me in the Bible. So as you're going through the year, this is your prompt, and you're just saying, is there anything that we've been studying that just amazes you? And you can write and journal these down, or if your children's old enough, they can journal these down as well. Now, these interests are going to help you to understand some ideas for the next school year, or where you can take educational detours. Now, detours is something I do in addition to plans. And detours are like if you've gone on a trip, you have your plans. You know exactly what turns you're going to take. You know how to get there. You know when you're going to get there, based on the GPS. A detour is like, oh, wait, there's some work in the road here and we have to go around. And so that little detour is in addition to your step-by-step plans that you have laid out. So our children often get excited about things that they're learning and they want to dig deeper. And you want to encourage them to dig deeper by giving them these detours. So this will help identify some of those interests. That's what I need to do. I need to move me. You can introduce some of these interests in the same years as detours in the afternoon, or you can use it to plan your next year. So this is something that I've tried to condense for our moms. So things that impress me in history, and just helping your children think on these things and helping you think on these things, because our children will oftentimes show us what their interest is, and by how they're playing out and how they're acting and how they're talking. And you can go and journal based on what you're seeing. So this is the tracker. I think it's my favorite because I like the outdoors, and it has definitely been influenced by Charlotte Mason. It was never I was as a child, but as an adult, I didn't like the outdoors. And so this is probably the one closest to my heart. And so they all come with the influential tabs and dividers, 12 of them. And if you have the idea tracker, it's perfect for you to put the idea tracker behind the dominant ideas, because this will help you to be able to things that they want to dig deeper on. And every month in the idea tracker has at the bottom, you can identify the things that your children are talking more about, the things that they're digging deeper for themselves, and it will help you plan next year. So you can put those calendars right behind this, as well as any of the work they might be doing. Okay, and so this is probably my second favorite. And my second favorite is because it appeals to me as artistic. And I love the ideas of the little dandelion seeds blowing in the wind, and how these are real seeds that we're just putting out to our children and seeing what catches and what blooms from it. And so this is my favorite compass quote. I've always called it, self-education is the only possible education. The rest is mere veneer laid on the surface of a child nature. So this is our thinker. This is to help children to realize that they are born to be thinkers. And in it is going to have the educational things that Charlotte Mason says that education is. And so each one follows the same suit. All of our influential dividers have these quotes at the back. And then the planners, the planning packs fit beautifully inside each of these and will help you to be able to just put them into place. And here's the beauty of it. This is where the 5 habits of motivation, responsibility, accountability, self-management, direction all come into place. Is a child will take ownership of their education because everything is laid out for them. And so this becomes their weekly check-off list. And all they have to do is, like, on Tuesday, the focus subject is history. So they just come over here in history, and let's say this was term 2, week 14. So they turn to week 2 and go to week 14, and they find out what their assignments are. And they check it off one at a time. And when it's all done, they go over to their weekly place and check it off. This has been the system, like I said, that has been tried, tested, and perfected for 20 years. And so I'm really excited. Now, while I have this open, I'll show you is that each planning pack, there's 5 of them, for the different forms, will give you guided quotes at the top from Charlotte Mason's book on each page of the subjects that will help you to be able to guide and assist you in planning for that age, for their skill, in that form. And so even if you know nothing about Charlotte Mason, you'll be able to know what she has suggested for that child for that subject at that age and skill. And so that you're able to just put that in there and guide and direct you as you're pulling together your plans for the year. Now, something I forgot to say that I want to make sure I say is because Charlotte Mason taught us that living books are so important, right? A living book depends on a child and the reader. So there's also these corresponding, very sturdy cardboard feel bookmarks. So they'll survive a lot of books. You get 12 of them, and they match all of the influential dividers. So you have one that matches that, and on the front is the picture, and then on the back is the quote. So this is fun to be able to just go ahead and use in your books, and there's never enough bookmarkers. So talk about a time waste is when you don't know where you left off, it's hard to get started quicker. So I make sure my kids always have bookmarks just to save that little bit of time and frustration. And so this is the Traveler one, which I'm about to show you. So this goes with it. And so I only have 2 of the tracker. And I think the reason is because we have these at the Teach Them Diligently. And every time I turned around, moms were grabbing these and going. And so I'm like, okay, moms want bookmarks. So next year I will have bookmarks for my business cards. So that's why I only have 2 of those left, as they were being swiped when moms thought that they were free to take. And then this is our last one. This one is the Traveler. And the Traveler, what I love about this is it inspires our children for geography and to learn through reading. And I love this quote from Dr. Seuss. Reading can take you places you have never been before. How simple and true that is. And so I love this one because of the colors, and I love it because of the concept of geography. And you will see, let me open up the whole thing. This shows all of the 7 continents and 5 oceans. And it just has a fun way of, just bringing geography alive. So here, same concept, different pictures. I will say some of my favorite pictures are in here. I love this one. This one just, man, if there was a park like this, I would probably spend all my time there. This is my favorite picture out of all of them. And so again, this is just follow the same suit. The only thing that changes is the guiding post based on the forms that you're doing and the subjects. So everything else is laid out pretty much the same. And you have your opened view of your week, and the subjects are laid out here at the top. So it'll tell you, like in Bible, for this form, you're supposed to focus on the tales and the precepts of God. And it walks you through at the very beginning what your subjects are supposed to be for this form. It literally gives you everything. I mean, there is nothing more you have to think about for this. So it tells you how to guide out your terms for the year, and then how to break up your subjects. Here's all the subjects that Charlotte Mason suggests for this form, as well as the yearly syllabus and how many books should be in each form. So I also have the planning framework inside the Wholesome Thinker that will help guide you in doing this if you feel like you need a little more help in understanding the subjects and understanding how to actually pull them all together. Now, trying not to let this all fall. Let me just put this on the floor. And here are the 5 planning packs. Now, the best deal that you're going to ever get, even without the sale, is the grade notebooks. I have been able to reduce the price significantly when you buy them all together, all the things. So you get the grade notebook binder, you get the influential dividers, you get the bookmarks and the planning pack, all for normally $69, and they're on sale right now for $59. And so if you're in the US and you buy 2, you get free shipping. So anything over $100, you get free shipping. And then Here's the planning packs. So the planning packs are, trying not to get any reflection. It tells you very specifically here what they're for. So let me work through one at a time. So the first one is Form 1A, and this planner pack is for kindergarten. And Charlotte Mason's is 6 years old. So at 6, you're going to want to start using this. Now, 6-year-old, they have yet to learn to read for more of the cases than not. And so that's really for non-readers. Now, really quick, when I first created this planning system, I expected it to be for me. But my daughter, she was motivated to get done so that she could earn more free time. And she understood exactly how this worked because she saw me emulating it day in and day out. And so because she could read, she took ownership of her book and never gave it back. That was at 8. She took ownership at 8. She would have taken ownership sooner had I made it sooner. So this is why I tell everyone, as soon as they're reading, they're going to want to take ownership of their grade notebook. However, if your child is watching you, even if they can't read, and they see that every time we do math, mom marks off that box, they're going to want to start marking off that box. So as soon as you see them eager to start to mark things off, let them, because that's the start of them having that vital spark to take ownership. So you never want to say, no, you can't take ownership yet. I'm not ready, even if it's just to mark it off. So the next step is Form 1B. And this is for 7 and 8 and maybe 9 years old, first and second grade. Now, Charlotte Mason's all about the skill. So if your child's not quite reading well, then you're going to want to keep them in here, even if they're 9. Right. And so that's why she said maybe 9 years old. Hopefully your children are reading enough by 9. And again, this is not about them taking ownership. This is about the assignments inside. A lot of people don't think assignments change with Charlotte Mason, and that's a lot of misunderstood concepts of the philosophy. The assignments do in fact change. Not only do the assignments change, but the subject and the depth of the subject changes as a child matures. So being aware of that, you'll make sure you're giving your children enough of their education. And a lot of times when people try this method, they say, I just don't feel like it gives my children enough. Well, when that happens, it's because they don't understand the depths of when a child grows. It's not just copywork. It's not just narration. It's certain types at certain ages for certain subjects. Okay, so the next step would be Form 2, and that's for 9 to 12 years old, occasionally over 12. So whenever you see occasionally over, that will tell you your child's skill may not be there yet. And so if your child's skill is not ready for that next leap or that stage of transition for copywork or narrations, those types of things, then you want to keep them in here. So if they're occasionally over 12 and they're behind in reading or even writing, you're going to want to keep them in here a little longer. But if they're in 3rd and 4th and 5th and they're right on time for the reading and the writing, then you're going to want to probably move to this one. Oops, this one. So this one is Forms 3 and 4, and it's for 11 or 12 to 15 years old. I put 6th, 7th, and 8th because this is perfect for middle school. Now, for our home, middle school is 7th and 8th. However, a lot of it can be used in 6th grade as well because your child's mind's ready for it if they're caught up on their reading and their writing, if they're right on stage. Now, what I want to pull out is this says for 11 or 12, where the one right before that, which I put right here, says 9 to 12 years old. So this is going early. So of course, now she's talking about those children who are advanced. So if your child's a little advanced, they know the reading, they know the writing, and they're doing really good with all the subjects matter, and they're ready for something a little more advanced, then you just jump them into here. Again, this is not about grades lining up. I put this here for those who have that mentality still and need a little more guidance in there. So you want to look at this and make sure that it's based on your children's skill versus them, their age or the grade system. Is this making sense to you guys? And then the last one, forms 5 and 6, are for what I call the high schoolers. So 9th through 12th, and it's for 14 or 15. Here again, this is an advancement because 14 was covered in the last one. So this is an advancement, a child who may be advanced 14 or 15 to 18 years old. So this again takes the subjects deeper, requires more from the student than the previous ones, and prepares them for high school. So I don't go in too much in here over credits. I do guide and assist you some in here, but the planning framework inside the Wholesome Thinker will help guide you if your children are in high school. And yes, you can use this method all the way from kindergarten, actually from birth to high school, all the way through 12th grade. And to rest you assured, it does prepare them for college. It prepares them for career. My daughter is carrying a 3.94 grade point average. She's had 3. I know of 3 national societies. She may have 4. So she'll be graduating with incredible honors from Liberty University in May while working full-time and being a full-time student. So our sons do very well with what they're working at. This definitely prepares them, and it gives them those habits necessary for not just their job, but to stand out in society. So you want to prepare them really well. I have a few minutes. If you have some questions, I'm going to get into the comments. So hello, Andrea. Yes, yes, I knew you guys were where I was then because planning is overwhelming. So just trust my experience and know that the whole planning the entire year is better than going by the seats of your pants. And these grade notebooks help you get there really fast. And if you're in the Wholesome Thinkers, we'll be having August 5th as our planning boot camp. It's live stream for 4 hours on Friday, August 5th. If you're not in the Wholesome Thinkers, you can get into the Wholesome Thinkers by going to wholesomethink.com with the founders. That's opened up through August 31st. And I will be there walking you through how to plan. I'll be having my grade notebook, just like you'll be having yours, and walking you through that. Andrea says, can't wait for my daughter's grade notebooks to arrive next week. I thought for sure she was going to choose the animal track or the map theme, but she really wanted the one with the dandelion puffballs. See, that has my heart, my design heart, but I do love how the tracker teaches observation, and it brings, I think that the tracker, what it does to me is it touches a lot of memories. And so it's kind of like close to my heart. But this one appeals to my design eye more. So I'm excited about that. Now, something about the grade notebooks is we do have limited supply, and when they're gone, they're gone. We'll bring back probably our favorites. We might have some voting going on, but I have a couple of new ideas. My goal with the grade notebooks is not just planning. The grade notebooks turn into these beautiful portfolios at the end of the year because behind each tab, your child's completed work goes in, and then you have this beautiful portfolio to show of their work at the end of the year without a lot of effort. And so that works really beautiful. But what I love is that they're inspiring. They're not just an organization to keep all of your plans and completed work. They're there to inspire children with wholesome influences that will really encourage them towards habits naturally. So I put a lot of thought into designing these and things, and I have a couple more designs that I want to bring out in the near few years. And so I look forward to that. So we might have some voting going on to see how many we can make for next year. All right, so you can go get yours at a $10 off each one through August 31st by just going to gradenotebooks.com, entering in your coupon code PROGRESS, PROGRESS. And again, it's only through August 31st or while supplies last. I think we're still doing okay with supply. There's nothing to be rushed about, but I do hope to sell out. So we'll be pushing them more and more. And then next week, I have a really good topic that you do not want to miss. I'm staying on planning for the next few weeks. So if planning is where you get stuck, you want to show up for these. And one last call. If you are really thinking about Wholesome Thinkers, don't stay on the fence too long because August 1st, No, August 5th is our first of 4 annual plan or boot camps. So the first one is planning, and that's August 5th. And then we'll have one for productivity later in the year. And then at the start of the year, we're going to have one on a purpose boot camp. And then the fourth one is going to be progress, and that's next spring. So you don't want to miss these boot camps. They're going to be very valuable to you and help you in the 4 P's of homeschooling. And that's planning, progress, purpose, and what did I say? Productivity. So I look forward to that. Thank you for taking time today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, bye for now.